Hello there. Just back doing another Wellness Wednesday video. I'm Shannon. I do several things. None of them matter. They're all wellness related, and I'm here to bring self-healing information to you on YouTube University. Trying to make wellness and healing accessible to uh, everyone. And sometimes it's elusive and confusing and hard to navigate. And so I'm trying to break it down into little bite sized nuggets that are understandable and that you can start using right now on your journey to wholeness. I'm talking today about the food, mood, weight, trauma, stress, and mindset connection. What is that? It's really the only way that I could put in a framework for how to eat. I'm trying to answer the question, Shannon, how should I eat? Because it's so complex in the unique answer for yourself that you have to arrive to. And this is the reason why diets simply don't work. If they worked, we wouldn't have them anymore, or everybody would know what to eat. Food is a sensitive topic because it's just this cultural. It's the thing that brings us together. It brings families together for holidays and events, and there's a lot of, especially in the Western culture, there's a lot of correlations with food and with stress and what we do when the way that we are conditioned as little people and the way that that plays out as big people. And a lot of times where it's not modeled how to eat for our unique selves from a small age. And so just understanding that context. um, I was at a recent meetup of wellness practitioners in the community. We get together every couple months and every month to get together to collaborate, to share information. One of the common things that we do see, and it's not just in my practice, it's in all of the practices, is just I either see very disordered eating, either too little or too much, and that is very representative of our culture in the entire world of very dualistic nature. So good or bad, right or wrong, this or that. And so what a lot of us are here to learn is balance and balance with food. And that is really not something that is promoted by our culture. We are bombarded every day with images in the media of what a perfect body looks like, um, you know, advertising, media, social media, in our families, and everyone's, someone's always on a diet. And because they're not feeling like how they look now is not enough. And so understanding the mindset component behind it, because when someone comes to me and asks me what they should eat or has questions around food, their answer, because I don't give any, just information and understanding where they're at, and we co-create where we should go next. So if someone is stuck, my role is to work alongside of them to facilitate the unstuckness of life. I don't do anything. They are doing everything. I'm just someone that is guiding them to the next step, and we are investigating how that is for them, but also learning how they arrived at their current state and what we can do here and now for the next move. So, food and mood is very tied together with mental health symptoms. Inflammation, just at the lowest level, creates inflammation in the brain. And so, the one of the first moves, if you guys start having mental health symptoms or just physical symptoms, achy joints, fatigue, low energy, lack to lose or gain weight, those kinds of things, is to kind of investigate. One of the things that is usually within your control, if you are at an income level where food is within your means. Sometimes lower income levels, they are not. And so investigating that and eliminating. This is where a diet or an elimination diet like a Whole30 or a paleo or a keto or any of those may work. I try to tie the baseline food strategy, is what I call it, a food strategy tied to mental and physical health symptoms, because there's a lot of just baseline ways to eat that can resolve symptoms, such as a lot of times I'm asked about the ketogenic diet, and then a lot of times people are asking about weight loss. And I don't really, in my practice, I don't really do the weight loss, because once someone arrives at their weight loss, if they're still very unhappy, it's a mindset and other things that we need to do. So don't start there. If you get the inside right, the outside reflects that. If you're happy with, not happy, I hate that word, but if you are feel safe in your own body and feel fulfilled, like you have purpose and meaning, then the size, your body mass is going to fall in line with that. And so that is not the practice that I work with, but you have to also understand that the individuals that come to me are, I'm the last stop on the wellness train. And so they've tried all of the things, and or they are so overwhelmed with their health or life that they don't know where to start. So that's kind of the two spectrums that I see. So I guess I'll speak to those, because that's typically where someone would potentially end up at my doorstep, especially with mood. So I've treated a lot of different conditions with food, ADHD, mental health symptoms. I'm not going to call those conditions, because um, with mental health, it's symptoms with an underlying root. So the underlying root are trauma, unconscious conditioning, poor coping skills, low level infections, poor food strategies, those kinds of things. If you go to the root causes, the mental health symptoms will resolve themselves with a holistic approach. I'm not saying that no medication is involved in that. No, sometimes it is. And I'm not saying that other supports are not involved in it. Absolutely are, the whole team. So, one of my next videos, I am going to talk about putting together an integrative wellness plan for you, for yourself. And along that, there are sometimes supports that are needed if you are, like I say, really exasperated or really stuck. That's where getting a coach or a dietitian, um, a therapist, a spiritual advisor, whoever that may be, whatever is speaking to you, that's the right move for you. That's the next move for you. Um, and then things will start to fall into place. Sorry, the lighting's bad here. We're moving. This is a mess. Um, your weight is tied to what you think about yourself, trauma, your genetic imprint. And so, with that, when you start to take care of yourself, then the weight falls into line. The other thing that, like, I do see so much is just disordered eating. So a lot of individuals will have a stack of diagnosis, um, and are very scared to eat because of their health, and they've tried it all, and just kind of rigid thinking about the eating, and then that starts a trauma loop, and imbalance between the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems. And so when that is dysregulated, when you are not regulated, when your internal body isn't, and then you try to consume, you cannot rest and digest that second part of the parasympathetic nervous system. And then when you are eating inflammatory foods and you haven't gotten to the root issue, meaning resolving the trauma, addressing the mindset, looking at underlying low grade viruses and infections and things like that, then you can't get ahead of it. So it has to be very holistic. If you don't identify with the word trauma, I'm not a big labeler, but I'm trying to use the words that are out there so that you understand where you're at and your unique situation, help you move to the next thing that you are going to be working on or interested about or wanting to get education on. It's all part of this journey that we call life. So stress and chronic stress is a big, big, big contributor to just feeling like you're not having a handle on your food. and eating and weight and mindset. And so, really putting together a daily practice of something that addresses the stress. And if it's stress is chronic, then that lends itself. Stress is just low grade stress until it's not, and then it gets to be more of a long term condition where chronic stress. My belief is it kind of crosses that line over into trauma where we need to start working about breath work and um, undoing and unlearning and really observing the stories that we're telling ourselves and understanding what the root of that is it in childhood? Where is that? I'm not talking about psychotherapy here. I'm talking about the things that are really coming up for you in real time and what we can do about that. Why I'm saying a lot of times people come to me and they'll say, well, I want to work with a coach because I want to lose 20 pounds. Okay. When you lose the 20 pounds, then what? Well, then I'll like myself. Then I'll like who I am, and I will be comfortable, and I'll feel safe, and I'll feel worthy, and I'll feel loved. And these things is, they're maybe not articulating that, but they're saying it in different ways. Well, I can go and get a relationship, or I can go and do this. Well, we have to start with those elements oftentimes first, and a lot of times that's not a popular answer. But working on accepting where you are right now, where your body is in this moment, lends itself to starting to heal because otherwise your body, you're not feeling safe as you are right now in the here and now, and your body at a cellular level knows everything that you're thinking. And so all that self-hate and all of that, the things that come up into your awareness, the thoughts, that is felt at a really deep level, and your body rises up to meet those thoughts. You're not your thoughts, they are just unconscious things that come about, and you can unsubscribe from them is what I always say. A thank you next scenario. Meditation, yoga, mindfulness practices train us to get space between thoughts and becoming the observer of the thoughts, and which gives us space and also to feel your feelings and to sit with them, not to become them, but to sit with them so that you can accept and then release. And that kind of changes the cycle of the spiral of thinking about things, getting stressed and letting it become a stressful moment could lead into a stressful week, a stressful month, a stressful year. And then you're very, you feel like you're very off track from where you wanted to be. Whereas training in these practices provides, I have a stressful thought, I had a moment in time, observe and release, then it doesn't become so a year from now that you're off track. So the mindset component is probably the biggest with food and eating. And I have a lot of patients that are coming to me from practitioners, doctors in town, therapists in town, that they are just not responding to any of the methods, and they're stuck in their healing journey. A lot of times I get individuals that are 50% or 60%, their numbers, um, reported on their healing journey, and they have the belief and or hope. Hope is a precursor to belief. They have the hope or the belief that they can heal themselves, and they are ready to take radical personal responsibility, knowing that they did not cause their health condition, but that they have the ability and tools and want to work. They hire a coach to work in real time with the things that are coming up for them, the things that are creating a little bit of stickiness, and putting some WD-40 on that as an outside observer to their situation with radically understanding where they've been. Because at the baseline, it's all connected. And I would be silly to say that it's only food because it's not. Food is one of the biggest bangs for the buck, though, with that being said, within something that is within your control. A lot of times eating food is within their control, but then where it gets out of control is trying to control that too much or not taking any responsibility for the level of control, which is overeating. Because people will see Food can be an addiction. Food can be a way to numb. Food is a way to avoid. Food is, it's just like anything else. There can be you can substitute food, drugs, sex, alcohol, overworking, da 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 da. It doesn't matter what your poison is. It's used as a way to avoid some things that could be very uncomfortable, whether it is restriction or too much. And so that's the work that I do, is to try to find that balance for that person, because um, how you should eat is how you should eat for your unique situation, which is only you. And everyone needs to be eating something differently based on their health conditions, symptoms, unique situation, budget, lifestyle, culture, da 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 da, all of these things. The more information that you have, that's great. Genetically, I can't have nuts because of and that's something that's healthy. And so it's something that I know about my own body. So having that information is healthy and good for me to know. However, it also shows when I eat that. So you don't even have to have the information if you're keeping a journal, and you know that, or you know how you feel after you have that, and you have that information about yourself. Some of the most popular strategies, just to kind of start to get back track, are the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet has it's just fresh vegetables and fish and oils, and allows grains and dairy. If you have autoimmune conditions, the grains and dairy may not work for you. I see a lot of autoimmune type of conditions in my work, or hormonal conditions and mental health conditions. And so, as a good strategy, um, avoiding gluten, dairy, sugar. Sugar is number one, and gluten, dairy, sugar. And then if you have autoimmune conditions, it can get a little bit more complex with soy and things like that to add to that. Sugar hijacks the brain, and avoiding that at all costs. If you're going to make any change today, I would stop with this refined sugar. To lose weight, you're going to have to reduce carbs and sugar, and then at some point when you have that as a habit, then you're going to have to add in movement with that. But you're also going to have to like your life and like what you're eating, otherwise it won't stick. So whatever you're willing to do, and what you just works within your whole life, that's not restrictive, because if you're starting to think it's restrictive, your body's going to feel restricted, and then it's going to respond in a restrictive way. And so that's not going to work for you, and it's not going to work long term. So a lot of times they'll do really well for 2 months and then fall off the tracks. Well, what they were eating is not sustainable over the long term, over the lifespan. And nobody likes this information, but it's also the truth. But it also lends itself towards balance. So eating healthy 80, 85, 90% of the time, whatever that is for you, that's your move. And you don't have to eat like everyone else. The ketogenic diet is really popular right now. I guess I will address that and wrap this up really, really quickly. It's great for health conditions like diabetes, if there's not thyroid or other hormonal involvement, epilepsy. I just read a case study that it reversed schizophrenia in a case. Um, and then the other thing that I would say is there's healthy keto, and there's kind of unhealthy, with a lot of if you're just eating a lot of meats and dairy, that you're not getting nutrients. So from other sources that your body needs at a low level. Dr. Will Cole has a ketotarian diet out. I obviously haven't tried that, but his is kind of more evidence based. Again, it's something, if you are going to be able to stick to this for the long term, at least a year, the next decade, that's your next move. And then slowly but surely, your body will rise up to meet you where you're at. If in 6 months you've tried a new style of eating and you're unable to lose weight and you feel like you should, there's something else going on. Or if your mood hasn't changed, there's something else going on. Thyroid involvement, hormonal imbalance, a low level chronic infection, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which is most commonly IBS, chronic infections, Lyme, mold, those kinds of things. Um, there's about 20 low grade chronic infections that I've seen. If treated, then we can move ahead. And trauma is another big one. And I know everyone doesn't like that word, but if you had a hard time during childhood, or if you've had a stressful life, you've had a hard divorce, a death in the family, grief and loss, lack of purpose and meaning, um, mental health symptoms, violence in the home, um, those things, that doesn't mean that you can't heal, but there is another way to, um, there are other strategies that we're going to have to use to make sure that your body internally feels safe, and that your mind isn't stuck in these reoccurring cycles and these loops of, I'm never going to heal. This is bad. It's never going to work. I'm not worth it. I'm no good. All of these things, these thoughts that keep tormenting you. Um, and you are in a pattern of really, really deep rooted suffering, or unhappiness, or just lack of meaning in life, there are other things that should be or could be addressed. I have to be careful with the language because everyone is at where they're at. Everyone's entering point is different to healing. Everything can heal. Um, and sometimes at the deepest root, it is leaning into the fear to bring in more love, accepting yourself. Sometimes it looks like a full surrender, and sometimes it looks like a breakdown, or you're at the end of your rope. And we humans are here to support one another. And that's the role that I'm fulfilling in serving my human family. And if you have questions, um, are stuck, have tried it all, need a referral, let me know. I'm going to be posting some exciting information about my business and just about some elusive health conditions here in the fall. My practice is filling up, and I will be going to a waiting list. So if you are considering taking a chance on healing your whole self, uh, let me know. My work is to integrate the whole person and to help explain to you in real world terms what we can do right here, right now, make healing accessible and not elusive, so that you can start to see right now some changes from our very first meeting, and walk away with hope, because hope is the precursor to belief, and belief is the precursor to change and healing. So we all can heal. Everything can heal. You deserve, and it's your right to understand what's happening to your body at a baseline level, and understand that all of the health conditions that are out there are, they have roots in something, and to investigate your unique roots and eat in your unique way for your food, mood, your weight, to address trauma and stress. Look at your mindset, and guess what? To love yourself and accept where you're at every day. The only time we have is right now. So choose to observe each thought as it comes through, question, accept, release, let it go, and we all can heal. Hope this is helpful. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Bye bye.